always a fulfilling thing to watch a student finally internalize things you've been telling them all along, like sitting up straight and do this with your hands. And then eventually, even when the horse gets it, it's all a perspective of self-control. That's exactly what it is for a parent when they finally see their child beginning to demonstrate that confidence. God says the same thing in John about that the light is the judgment, and when the evil men saw the light, they ran from it. But those who walked in the truth came to the light, that what was on the inside might be brought out to the outside. That's really what happens when we begin to teach the horse from the outside, and then we keep waiting until there's a little light bulb goes off, demonstrating true self-control. Kathleen has generously brought Rowdy, an 11-year-old thoroughbred gelding, in to discuss some of our issues today, and he has a few issues. He is very aggressive on the ground, biting, snarling, always facing her, always squaring off with her, and trying to bargain for who's going to rule his life. And that's really the battle. Who is going to rule his self? Does he have the right to have the final say? And how can we really get him to the place where he wants to submit, where he wants to, where we can take that chain off, and where he wants to work with us in confidence and in obedience rather than always sparring with us? So I'm going to let him just demonstrate his wares to us, and I brought a few tools that we're probably going to make a tack change here on him to do some things differently. And I'm going to let Kathleen just walk him out there so you can begin to see how this horse moves, and I'm going to tell you what I see as Kathleen works with him a little bit. And as she pushes on his shoulder a little bit, he's going to, reach around and spar with her and try to bite her, because you say, well, she's too aggressive with that dressage whip. That's really not the problem. Notice the horse throws his hip to the outside, that he hangs on that lead rope a little bit, and that he's warring with her. So my goal then, and I've also set up a boundary so I can begin to work with that fence, is to move the horse forward, to start our engagement here where we can begin to move the horse from the hip, because we want to have access to the heart. It's the heart that we need to get to believe. So, and as we do, I will only raise the cue stick when either the horse slows down or when the horse looks away, because my goal in training is to first build attentiveness. So I need to build attentiveness and respect to me where he begins to honor me. I'm not lunging my horse. My hip is perpendicular to the horse, meaning that as I practice self-control, control of myself, I expect that he will begin to want to honor me and yield himself to me. Whoa. So I'll begin by stopping him, building a frontal barrier to keep the air cushion between the horse and myself. When he begins to find that if he honors the boundaries and the fences that I allow in his life, and he begins to internalize those boundaries, then he is going to have a greater ability to find peace and harmony on the inside, not just from a release of pressure on the outside. Now, the moment the horse begins to find the reward, I'm going to want to reward him. I'm going to reward him right up over his face and ears, so he gets a positive affirmation for an attitude change. And that when God allows our sins to come to the surface, he doesn't want us covering ourselves with fig leaves. That's exactly what happened in Genesis chapter 3. That's exactly what this horse is doing. He said, well, I'm trying so hard, and I've already offered this and I've offered that. You just don't understand. You're so unkind. Do you know, if you and I would only see our fig leaves, we would laugh at ourselves. We cover ourselves with self-righteousness. We cover ourselves with self-abuse. We cover ourselves with justification, with good works. You see, this horse is not hiding from me because he's naked. He's hiding because his fig leaves don't cover him, and he still has a lot of shame. See that? Now, what am I asking him to do? I'm asking him to release the control of his face and to let go of his argumentation and simply come back to his youth and let go of his anger and of his self-righteousness and of his bitterness. This has little to do with his breed or his gender or his age, but it has to do with the fear of losing control. Perhaps, if it depends who owned the horse, they'd say, well, he's abused for this or that. Who knows? It wouldn't matter whether he's abused or not. And though our horse is still unfinished in many shapes, he's still pretty rough, he is engaging in receiving love and acting in obedience. The scriptures say that since you have an obedience to the truth, purified your soul for sincere love of the brethren, fervently love one another from heart. He's a long way from that, but he's able to receive love.